Hello and welcome to the Shaken Up Show, the show that devotes itself to all things Bury AFC. I'm your host, Nick, and on today's show, we have a midfield maestro. This player scored one of the most iconic Bury AFC goals of what was a very short season, but an important goal nonetheless. He's played for Runcorn Linnets, both Atherton teams, and West Didsbury and Chorlton. So it is a warm welcome to the one and only Chris Holt. Hello, Chris.
Hi, mate. Okay, I'm good. Are you?
I'm good, mate. How are you? How have you been keeping over the last couple of months?
Yeah, all right. Yeah, plodding along. I think, like most people, just been keeping my head down at work, and that's about it, really.
Have you missed football? Have you missed not playing?
Yeah, I think it's just been a tough period, just not having that routine more than anything. I think for however long that I've played, I've been there 3 times a week and I've known it, but it's just broke up. It's just changed everything. Do you know what I mean?
It has, mate. How do you feel about the curtail of the season and the end of the season? Were you glad that the season came to an end when it did? Were you a bit worried, or would you have rather played on through the summer? What would you have rather have done?
I think it was the inevitable, to be honest with you. I think once we started, I think there was too many breaks, and I just couldn't see it ever finishing, to be honest with you. And obviously, when people are playing into summer with relegation and promotion, they were just never ever going to continue the season. And to be honest, I think it was a bit of a blessing in disguise for us, because obviously we've only been together for a few weeks before the season started this year now. So we restart now as a group of lads who've been together, know each other, and it's a fresh start. But we're lads who've been there for 12 months, if you like. So I think it's probably a blessing in disguise for us.
Do you think you'll go from strength to strength, having that kind of like almost like dogs when they meet one another, they smell each other's backsides, don't they? Do you feel like a group of dogs that have already used to the smells of each other's backsides? Or, it's a bit of a weird way of putting it, isn't it? But yeah. Do you feel
I wouldn't have said it like whatever tickles your fancy.
But do you feel like you're familiar with the lads now, and that you know them and you know how they play, and do you think that'll fall into your advantage going into the new season?
Yeah, I mean, it was tough at the start, because obviously there were so many people who wanted to come and play for the club. So there was a lot of chopping and changing throughout pre-season and even the first few games. And I think once we settled, then we got our squad together. I thought we were starting to look like a real deal, but then unfortunately it got stopped once and then stopped again. And I think that once the lads get back training together, it'll just be like no one's ever been away. Do you know what I mean? And then I think it'll be. I think we'll start really well next season, opposed to a couple of draws and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean?
Considering that there was there was a few, you've only played a few games and you only had a couple of weeks training and all that kind of stuff, there was still some cracking results out of those games, though. And we can look back at there was a lot of goals, there was a lot of really exciting matches, so that's something to build on, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think in the manner which some games ended, I think it's obviously really good foundations for any club at this level. I mean, we won a game, 2 games in 90th minute. We scored that header against Golka.
We'll come to that in a bit, Chris. I know that's something that you demanded to talk about. I think we've got a 10-minute section on that. Yeah, so there were them games, and there were special moments as well. And I know, like, we can all moan and groan about the season, and I've spoken to quite a few of the players, and I've spoken to the gaffer, and we can moan and groan about the season, but there were some really special moments, I think. And from a footballing point of view, I think there's quite a lot of special moments.
Definitely. I just think as well with the manner and everything that had happened, obviously, with the building of the club, I think it just made everything that extra bit better for everyone. Do you know what I mean? And obviously it seemed to mean a lot more to people, even though where the club is now, it didn't matter in the circumstances what them games was. It it was just moments that you can. It was just moments in football that you can't write, and, you can't bottle that feeling. Do you know what I mean? If you could, you'd be a millionaire.
Definitely. So just going off football a little bit, probably another reason why you're not as bothered about playing in the summer is for those that don't know already, you have been a little bit busy during the lockdown periods, and in May this year, am I right? You've got a new addition to the family, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so 9 weeks to go. I'm worrying a little bit now because it's the unknown in it. But yeah, I'm really excited. It's been mad times for it to be happening through this. I mean, the missus is desperate for go out and buy a pram, but we've still not got one, and we're pushing it. She's pushing it right to the very end now, so that she can go to the shop and push one round and all that. But
at this rate, all you're going to do, you're just going to have to nick one of trolleys from Asda or something like that at this rate, and just put.
I did say that. I did say end of the day, I'll just have to carry it out if we don't have a pram by then.
So what's it been like? Have you had time to kind of do a little one's bedroom and do the nursery and get the cot up and all that kind of stuff, or is it going to be a last minute thing?
It's still we've got some bits, but it's still a dressing room at the minute. So we've ordered a cot about 6-8 weeks ago. That's been knocked back twice already.
Right.
We've got a mattress so it can sleep on floor with stuff to it. But yeah, I think it's just been so hard to get hold of stuff. I think obviously you want to make sure that she can put the pram up and down on her own and stuff like that, and like you just can't go and test it anywhere. So it's been crazy to go through a pregnancy for her at this time. We've been to a couple of private appointments so that I can go in.
Yeah.
But now we're just on the finals. We're on the finals straight now.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations from obviously from all at the club, Chris, and I'm sure that Ian will be able to sort out a kit for the little one.
Thank you very much.
With Daddy on the back.
What, number 12?
No. So tell us a little bit about your footballing past. So I know that you've been around a few clubs. Where did you start off? When you were at school and stuff? How did you get into football?
So I've just always played football because my brother's a few years older than me. My dad used to run his football team, so I was always on the scene down there. So since I was like 4, I was playing football. Obviously, just with all my mates and stuff like that, and the teams that my dad run, and then like I just went through the years, and I was at like academies and stuff like that when I was a bit younger, like 10, 11, and then it's just like a big roller coaster in it, and I think then when I got to 15, 16, and Blackpool offered me to go and live in Blackpool for a couple of months and stay there for look and sign, and I didn't go because I said I'd get too homesick, so I didn't go there. And then I had about 6 months off football because I just fell out of love with it a little bit.
Right.
And then I started playing in the Manchester League just for Pennington, just local with all my mates.
Yeah.
And the manager, Michael Clegg, who's at Ashton United now, that was the kind of his start of his journey and the start of a lot of lads who were playing in non-leagues journey now. And we went from there to Aberdeen LR because I think we got promoted with Pennington.
Right.
We went to Aberdeen LR and there was no budget. We weren't playing for money. We were just playing. Everyone was just playing. It was like in this league, everyone was just playing for fun. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously, local to me, it's 5 minutes away. We had a really young team. We just had a go at everyone. It was just really good times. Like, and then after 12 months there, I think we finished like really well for a team with no money. I think we finished like 8th or something like that, and got into first round of the Vars or something like that. So like it was a really good season, and Cleggy moved across to Aberdeen Coles, so we went to the local derby.
Wow.
He moved across the town, so he took us all with us, and then I think I did about 3 years at Coles,
What was that like in Atherton? Were you getting like pelters thrown at you in the streets and like, you know, we're able to go in certain parts of the town because because the LR fans would get you, or was it a bit more relaxed?
To be fair, there was that. I mean, they weren't happy, but you know what I mean. Everyone had good relationships with them all, so it weren't. They didn't like it, and they didn't love you for going, but they wouldn't say anything to you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
because I think they knew that you'd done what you needed to do for them, and they'll kind of let you move on then, because I think they knew that Coles had the facilities and the thing to progress a little bit more than they did.
So then from Coles, where did you go on to from there?
I went to Runcorn, so it was it just kind of at the end of Coles, it just kind of fizzled out a little bit. I think it was just time for a change. I think I'd done about 100 appearances in 3 years, so I'd done quite a lot. So I just said to Clegg, I'm going to go and have a change, and I ended up signing at Runcorn Linnets, and it was just the best. It was just the best years of my life that in football in terms there. I've just not enjoyed my football as much as I did at that time at Runcorn. It was just unbelievable what happened in them 3 years, and it weren't even that. I mean, we won the North West Counties Prem, but we had like so many good days of football where they'll stay with you forever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So what was so special about that group? What was important about it?
It was just. I think it was just. It was just. It was just one of them things where everything was right at the club. The manager was right at the time. He was an ex-player, Elo, who'd just literally taken over from his playing days. I just think the lads were just. It was just a perfect blend of everything, and I think it's shown with what they did there. I mean, I think before I signed, I think they finished second about 5 seasons in a row, and then the year after, I think they finished third, and then we went on to win the title.
Right.
But it was just special, and I think because it's a well followed club at Runcorn as well, so there was always a good few hundred watching, and you got to know them obviously playing there week in week out, and it was just special that it meant so much to them because they've done what Bury have done and restarted again and gone through the league. So I think it was a tough league. It's a tough league to get out of the counties because it was always one team that went up.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the year that we went up, 2 went up, but we still made it all by winning it. Yeah.
Did you go to West Didsbury and Charlton after being at Runcorn then?
Yeah, so I did in Runcorn. I did a bit of I went back to Coles in the middle of that halfway through, and then I went back to Runcorn after it. I went to Coles for about probably 3 months. Then I was at Runcorn again, and then Brad Cook, the Coles manager, he's one of my best mates, and he got the West Didsbury job. So he said to me, "I want you to come down, be my captain, and we'll have a go at the division at West Didsbury." So, I mean, it were. I think I made about 15 appearances because Brad obviously got the Abbott and Coles job then.
Yeah.
So I mean, even at West Didsbury, it was just another fantastic club though. Like everyone there, I couldn't say a bad word about anyone. Do you know what I mean? Everyone was brilliant there, and it was just another good club. I mean, obviously with what happened in the Vars last year.
You all got a bit fruity down there, didn't it?
I know. But like I said, it was all fantastic to me, and that's all you can judge people on, isn't it?
What? So, just talk to me a little bit about West Didsbury and Charlton, because when we went there, you know, it's a very, very unique club. I don't think I could ever describe anything. For those that haven't been to West Didsbury and Charlton, they have a disco ball in one of the stands. Is that right?
Yeah.
They have. Did they have? I think they had when we were there, like some sort of blow up snake or something like that. There's a certain vibe and a feeling about that club, and I think it's like a hipster heaven, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the first night I ever played a pre-season friendly there, it was about 11 o'clock at night. It was like pitch black.
Yeah.
And there must have been 15, 20 hipsters playing heads and volleys on the pitch as they were walking off. And it's just surreal, do you know what I mean? And they have chants about quinoa, they have chants about on anything obscure,
yeah,
they can chant it. But like I said, they well followed though. It's
yeah. Well, when we went there in the Vals, it was busy. It was a busy day, like, and that was with the limitations as well.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they're a club of their own. Do you know what I mean? And you won't find many clubs like that. And I think it was just part of the enjoyment of playing for them, because I mean, a majority of them weren't even there for the football.
Yeah,
a lot of it was there for have a beer and just sing songs about quinoa.
It's a lovely setup down there, though. It's almost like I described it as it was almost like a cricket venue. You know, when you go to the cricket and it's just like people sat on grass banks drinking obscure craft ale and cider. It was, and I think when we went there, I mean, I've got a rose tinted glasses look at it because it was absolutely baking. It was a beautiful day. So it looks absolutely fabulous. We had a really good. I mean, that was our first competitive game. Obviously, it didn't end how we wanted it to, but it was a cracking. It's a cracking setup down there.
Yeah, definitely. There is a few gems in these leagues where, like their infrastructure down at West Didsbury, there's no way they should be in this league. Obviously, they've got a potential for a bit league above that as well.
Yeah.
Help that they've got up, but obviously it's just the way it is, isn't it?
It is. So then did you come from West Didsbury and Charlton to sign for Bury AFC?
No, so I went with Brad back to Coles.
Back to Coles.
Yeah, but because of my shift work at work, it's hard to play and commit to football, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So I mean, I started playing, and then I was in and out, and you know what I mean. And I just said to him, like, at the end of the day, I'd rather just go and play football somewhere. So I went back to Runcorn, played 90 minutes, and then COVID it.
Yeah.
So I actually come back from Runcorn. So I think I've been to and from about 3 times between Coles and Runcorn, and then I'll come back from signed from Bury from Runcorn for the end of last year.
So, what made you want to sign for Bury AFC, and when you how did you hear about the training sessions, or what was it? What was the build up like?
Well, it was funny actually, because I was actually going to sign for Rylands on the night that Welshie texted me. So Brad's dad is Sunderland kitman, and obviously Welshie was at Sunderland, so he'd spoke to him beforehand, so Brad had given my number, so he just texted me, and I just had a quick chat to him, and I just said, listen, I will go into Rylands tonight to sign, but obviously it's an opportunity that I don't want to miss out on. I'll tell him I'm going to come and train with you on Saturday, and then I'll have a look at making a decision. But I mean, it's one of them where I kind of already knew my decision in my heart of hearts as soon as I knew the opportunity had arisen. Do you know what I mean? Because I think it's the kid in you, from obviously what you think and what you know it's going to be. You want to experience that, and I just think that I couldn't have passed it up. I don't think I would have ever. I wouldn't have forgiven myself if I'd have just said no. You know what? I'm gonna go down this route, and it was an easy decision in the end. You know what I mean? It weren't. I mean, people are money obsessed and stuff like that in these leagues, and it doesn't matter to me. I'd rather go, and as long as I enjoy my football, and I enjoy going 3 times a week, that's the main thing. And obviously, it just tops it off that it's at a club like this as well.
Talk to us about that first training session that you went to then. So were you there at the very first one on that Saturday morning? Yeah. What was that like?
It's strange, isn't it? Because there was loads of lads there. I think there was probably three 11s. I bet there was 30 odd lads there. So it's just hard, isn't it? Because everyone, you don't know each other, and I think you've just got to go in and be yourself. And I think if you're the right kind of character, I think you'll get noticed, and they'll look at you and say that's something that we want. And I think obviously I must have gone in and done the right things, because I spoke to Welsh and he just said, yeah, we want you to come and sign, and that was that kind of it, really. So from that point then there was no other option in my mind anyway. I obviously told him that I do miss the odd session and the odd game because of work commitments, but I just try and be honest with whoever I'm playing for and tell them that from the get-go I get a full yearly rota pretty much, so I can let them know way in advance what sessions I'm missing and stuff like that. So I do my best, but I'll be honest, swapping all my shifts and stuff like that, I've not missed doing that because it's an absolute nightmare.
How have you found your time at Bury AFC? I know we've only had limited games, but how have you found the fans, and how have you found like the kind of the atmosphere when you've been down at a game?
Well, it's just bordering on like you can tell it's going to be like league football when everyone's allowed in. Do you know what I mean? It's got that feeling of being such a massive club in the North West Counties. Do you know what I mean? You can just feel the buzz every time, and you can just tell everyone's so happy to have football back.
Yeah,
and I think it's probably it's like it's twice as good for you fans, because obviously with COVID, that's one thing, that's one battle. But then before that, you'd not been to football
the year before.
Yeah. So it was like a real. And I mean, I don't get nervous at football when I'm going to play. And that first day, that first league game, I was nervous, and it was just a weird feeling. Do you know what I mean? And it's just something that I've not really experienced that much in my career.
So what you're referring to there is the Steaton game. Do you know what? Everyone just keeps going on about the Steaton game, and it was really such an important game for us all. Obviously, I know the West Didsbury was our first competitive game, and we had some friendlies as well, but that just felt like such a real landmark in what hopefully will be, a project that's going to go on for the next couple of generations. So what was that? What was it like playing that Steaton game? Obviously, I know Sani in previous shows has spoke to Greavesy, and I've spoke to the gaffer a couple of times about it. And from a fan's point of view, I spoke to Jono, who's at Chester, and he's really supportive of Bury AFC in the project. And I just said to him, I've not felt like that at a football match for such a long time. And even thinking about it now, I can't tell you the amount of times I've watched that highlight package on YouTube. So what was that like as a player playing in that game?
I mean, it was just a roller coaster of emotions, wasn't it, throughout? And even when you're playing, it's difficult to. I mean, they try and tell you not to play the occasion, but sometimes the occasion takes over. And I think it was weird because we was just by far the better team, and it was one of them where we've scored early, everything you'd have wanted, dominant, and then next minute we're 2-1 down, and it was frantic because you didn't expect it to turn on its head so quickly.
Yeah,
but I think as well, I just think it was just. I think then when you get to the later stages in that game, you can feel the energy and the drum was banging, everyone was starting to get going, and it kind of had a big dramatic ending feeling to it all the way through it. When it went in, it was just you just can't recreate that feeling in football, in life at all, and there's just nothing that you can match it with, because it's just a different feeling to anything when something like that happens.
That's it. I think that's it. There's people running on the pitch. If you look at the reaction from behind the stand, I mean, there was only 300 people in that day, and it felt like 10 times that almost.
No. Yeah, it was the roof come off, didn't it? The roof come off, and it felt like a league club when that goal went in. Do you know what I mean? It was just it was an enormous roar, and it was so special because obviously it was, even though we did have the Vars game, we'd always said, look, the Vars is always going to be a bonus. The league's the bread and butter.
Yeah.
We need to win league games at the end of the day, and just the manner of it. If someone could have told you it before it, you'd take it all day winning like that. It's miles better than winning 4-5-0.
I saw Chris Murray just after the goal had gone in. He almost had sweat. I mean, I don't know if it was sweat or the rain, because the rain was just absolutely. But he just literally had a full bead on, just like the pressure was unbelievable. But I know. Do you know what? And hopefully this will be something that we'll talk about for years and years and years, and we'll look back on it, and you can turn around to your little one in a few years, and you can show them that clip on YouTube and say, I played in that game. And so tell us about your midfield partners then. Who have you played? You play usually in the centre of midfield with Tony.
Yeah. So me and the first game, I mean, all the way through, I think the first training session where the trials was, me and Tony got put on a team together, and we worked really well on that Saturday morning. And then I think just due to circumstance, we never played together. We'd never played as a two together
through the friendlies.
Yeah, through anything. So I think the first game that we actually played together was that first league game. And he actually said to me, "Well, like, when we come to them, when we had them trials, my initial first two was you and Tony, with personnel playing well and stuff like that. We just never ended up with you two together. So I mean, we've just kind of got the feel for each other really well, really quickly, and we've kind of settled into that too quite easily. And we both can do both roles, and we can. And it helps. He's a fantastic footballer, doesn't it?
You're not bad, Chris. You're not bad. So what kind of, do you have any agreements? Do you does sometimes he tell you to go forward and I'll stay back, or do you say no? Who bosses who about?
I think it's just we both kind of have that understanding of each other already, and it's quite rare that you get that straight away. But I mean, I think we both played football long enough now to understand that. Well, I mean, Welsh tells us that one of us always has to be there. So when one of us goes, the other one has no choice.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I just think, like I said, we've just clicked together, and I think that because we both can do both roles, it's made it a lot easier. I mean, in a couple of games, he's pushed me forward a little bit in a couple of games when obviously then Jimmy's coming a little bit later on. But the dynamic really hasn't changed with it all. And I think when good players play anywhere, they just kind of, they can take up any role, and it makes it a lot easier when you're playing with lads who are quality like that. But like I say, it's just kind of clicked.
So what would you say the main differences are playing with Jimmy to playing with Tony?
Well, Jimmy just does all the horrible stuff really well. He's just, and then he knows his role, and he knows what he can and can't do. And I think that's what's so good about Jimmy. With his experience, he knows when he needs to do something with it, and he's really calm on the ball. And I just think it's just sometimes when games are getting away from you a little bit, he can control the game, and he can dictate the full game from where he plays. You know what I mean? And what he does. And I think that started to show in the last few games when he'd been in there for a few times, because he obviously hadn't played there for years. But he soon found his feet, didn't
he? He did. Usually 2 feet.
Yeah, definitely.
Should we just talk about? Should we get it out of the way then? Should we talk about the Golka goal? It's actually in your contract. I've got your contract here. It's and it says at least 20 minutes into podcast, please talk about Golka goal. So tell us about Now, me and Johnny, who does the social media, talk about this goal quite often, saying it was our favourite goal of the season. It might not have been the greatest goal. I mean, Tony Whitehead's, but I think we've got to give him his due for the thunder strike.
Yeah,
something else then. The thunder strike at Steaton, but it was a really important goal. That goal at Golka, at Radcliffe against Golka. So for those that haven't seen it or don't know about it, we were down to 9 men. Is that right? Yeah. We'd had Liam sent off for being fouled. And we'd also had Ed, our goalkeeper, sent off for as he was the last man. He brought a player down, then he as the last man. So we're down to 9 men. Jimmy Moore, he was playing in centre midfield with you at that time?
I think he was playing centre mid, yeah.
So he had to go in net. So we had 9 men. We were 1-0 down. And talk us through what happened next.
It was just, it's all just a blur. If I didn't have the video, I wouldn't remember it. He got everyone up, and I remember having a conversation with Matty Williams, and you can see it on the video. And I'm kind of saying, shall I come back? And Scott, he's saying, get in there, in not so many words, but so I just kind of just jog in. And
did some of those words begin with F?
They might have done, yeah. Probably.
Go on then. So sorry, I interrupted your flow.
And I just kind of sauntered into the box and I just picked up flight of ball really early and just got wrong side. I don't remember anything after that then. I just remember being in the crowd.
And I know Welsh commented about this. What was really nice is the group of guys that came legging it down the stand were all the lads that weren't featuring in the game. So Sam was there. There's a couple. I think Liam McDevitt came out of nowhere. So yeah, he went crazy, didn't it?
Yeah, it was just, and you know what? It was just one of them moments where you want to score, don't you? Do you know what I mean? And I didn't want it. It was because the lockdown had been announced as well, so we was going into lockdown the next day, weren't we?
Yeah.
So it was just kind of something that I could sit there and watch for all the lockdown. Then.
How many times did you share it on WhatsApp or Facebook with your mates?
It got forwarded many times.
Brilliant. And you described it as coming off your nugget. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, I don't score. I mean, I can't remember the last time I scored an header. And do you know what? Because we were going into lockdown, I had a really jarhead cut as well because I thought I'm going to make it last. So I was like, I'm going to have to get a jarhead now every time I'm going playing football.
So, do you score a lot of goals? Because obviously we've only seen sporadic appearances and we've only had seven league games. So is scoring goals important to you, or are you more kind of assists man, or do you what's your bread and butter? I mean,
I don't not score goals, but I'm not prolific, if you like. Do you know what I mean? I'm kind of I'll chip in with a few goals a season, probably 8 to 10 a season. But like I say, I find that I'm always the pass before the assist. Do you know what I mean? Like but at the end of the day, it don't matter. As long as I know I'm playing well and the team are winning, that's all that matters. Do you know what I mean? It don't matter who puts me in the net. I mean, it helps when Greaves puts everything that goes near him in net, doesn't it? But
what's it like playing with Greaves at that? Because obviously you must have heard about this mythical creature called Tom Greaves that kind of lingers around the non-leagues, scoring goals left, right, and centre. Were you aware of his work before he joined the club, and what is he like to play with?
Well, you obviously hear about these people in non-league. It's just the way non-league is, and you know that obviously, like, he was top scorer at FC and all that, and you know what, you just hear it, but you don't. I've never known him, never met him, and you kind of think he can't be that good at scoring goals. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of, you can't believe it until you see it. But then when
mythical creature, mate,
it is. And then when you tell people about him, people don't believe you because it's that ridiculous, isn't it? So I mean, it's just his movement's just unbelievable. If you watch him and you don't watch any of the game and you just watch him, like the last couple of games that I didn't play, I was just watching, and it's just so easy to him. It's second nature. He just does it naturally. It causes so many problems. It's just, and then anywhere it box, and you know that it's keeper's going to have to make a save minimum. And he's just, like I said, he's a mythical creature.
No, you'd definitely rather have him in your team than against, wouldn't you?
Yeah, he must be a nightmare to play against, because he's just he doesn't stop as well. And I think what's so difficult is the moment you switch off is he switches on, and I think it's just the transition of his game that just leaves so many defenders, because he's quick. He's quick. He's deceptively quick, and I think people won't kind of put that with him, but he has definitely got quick over 5 yards, and he gets his space through that.
I think it might have been. I might be wrong. It might be. It was either one of the Darwin games where I think he ran onto a ball and he pushed a man off him. Glided past him,
yeah.
And no one got near him. I think he made up about 10, 15 yards. No one got anywhere near him.
It's just, like I say, he is a goal machine, and it's just scary, isn't it, how someone can be that good and that clinical in throughout the career. Never mind just at Bury.
When someone like Tom Greaves walks in, does it up the kind of your kind of game and other players' game? Because you're thinking, God, if this guy's here, I've got a kind of does it raise everybody else's game?
I just think I think the expectation from the get-go has been really, really high, and I think when you're bringing in obviously quality players like that, you want to play them because you want to play with these players.
Yeah.
You feel that you've got to be concentrating. You've got to be on your game every week. But then I think we've just got a group of lads that are so honest and do just want to do the best that they can. And like you said, with that goal against Galca, everyone was there. Everyone was watching. They all support each other. Everyone wants the best for each other. So I think it's a really good group of lads for that aspect. But definitely everyone pushes each other to the limits. And when we're training, it's really, really intense, and there's no tackles flying and stuff like that. There's no like, everyone wants to prove themselves.
No, you don't pull your punches in the. You basically it's all systems go in the training session.
Yeah, train as you play here, and it's quite rare that you train at that intensity at this level for 2 hours twice a week. I mean, I've not done that. Them 2 training sessions in all my time in non-league, where you've trained for 2 hour blocks at that intensity, and obviously it's reaped its rewards with some of them late goals that we've scored.
Are you dreading pre-season?
I'd like to say no, but it's no one enjoys pre-season. And to be fair, what Welsh did last year, we did a lot of ball works, we did a lot of disguise running, so it's not as bad, but it's not good. It's not. I don't enjoy it. Do you know what I mean? And I think obviously we're going to be having. It's probably going to be 6 months of not playing football, if you like, to get back at. So I mean, yeah, I'm bored of running club now, so it's hard to gain any motivation to do anything. Do you know what I mean? So it's I can't wait to get back and just train and stuff like that, just to get a little bit of structure and get back out there and do a little bit of play a little bit of football.
Have you kept fit over lockdown and stuff? Have you just said about running club and stuff? Do you do stuff with like I don't know if you do the Strava group and all that lot, but have you been out doing runs or anything?
I've been doing bits, yeah. It's just been hectic, really. Like to be fair, I've been doing every shift God send, because I've just before baby comes, so I've just said to her, while I'm in lockdown, it's ideal now for me to get some hours in, and literally I can get fit. I'm naturally fit anyway. Do you know what I mean? So I don't ever lose that much fitness. So a couple of 2-3 weeks when we're back, I'll be fine.
Fab. So let's just talk about some of your teammates. We've talked about like the kind of playing abilities on the pitch, but let's just talk a little bit about what they're like in the dressing room and as a group. So you've just finished a game. It's been absolutely hammering it down. You go in the showers afterwards, you get showered and whatever. Who's the longest doing their hair and in front of the mirror? Who's pruning themselves?
I think Adam McWilliam's he loves a wet gel look. And he does spend time. He does spend a lot of time as well.
I'd love to see his lockdown hair at the minute, actually. It'd be interesting to see what Adam's lockdown hair will be.
I mean, he's probably shoulder length now, but he'll definitely be air drying it every day.
So Adam McWilliam is one of the most vainest footballers at Bury AFC.
But then I have seen him, and he has got a tartan coat, so I don't know how that's even possible.
Who out of your teammates is kind of like the joker in the pack? Who's the one that's pulling either all the pranks or keeping spirits up or whatever? Who's that in the group?
There's loads. You know what I mean? There's so many characters in the changing room. I mean, since Chippy's come in, he doesn't have a minute. He's constantly at it. But he wears two-tone grey tracksuits, so it's like do you know what I mean? They puddled half of them. Do you know what I mean? But it's just way of the world. It's the way of non-league, isn't it? There's so many big characters in there, and it's just. I mean, Scott Metcalf, obviously, he's a big character. But it's like I say, it's just non-stop when you're in dressing rooms. You can't have a minute.
Brilliant. Who picks the music in the dressing room?
I think it's Liam. I think Liam McDevitt's on that. But I think sometimes he gets it right. Sometimes he gets a few moans off the lads. So, but I don't get involved in it. I'll listen to anything.
Just put anything on. And what about who's the best dressed? Who's the one that kind of like when they come in, you think, he's pulled it off again there, even though he's got some sort of gear on that might not, you know, if I were wearing it, might not be able to pull it off. But this guy, he's walked in and he's got it.
Well, Liam loves a mad combo. He loves some mad trendy stuff. I mean, it's probably trendy. It's probably in. Do you know what I mean? But I couldn't pull it off anyway. But he probably gets it all from BBC.
What's it like having Liam? Do you ever watch Match of the Day Kickabout? Is it weird seeing your teammate on telly?
Well, when you see him on all see him on loads of clips on Twitter, don't you, and stuff like that. Just, I mean, he's doing well for himself, and it's all fair play to him. And like I say, he's like really softly spoken and quite like a bit of a quiet lad, really. But he's so confident with how he is as well. He's a really nice lad, yeah.
Fantastic. So one of the, unfortunately, we can't all have we can't all be blessed with amazing traits, and you've got a few flaws. And just looking down at it, one of your flaws is that you're a Leeds fan.
Someone has support them, don't they?
Come on, what's going on there? You've got the most Lancashire accent I've ever heard in my life.
Oh,
and you're a Leeds fan. Talk me through that.
So it's through my dad. I just got brainwashed as a kid. I didn't have a choice, and he's just. I've always been a Leeds fan, and that's just the way it's been. Do you know what I mean? And he's been a lifelong Leeds fan, but obviously there was a lot more successful back then, and now I've had to go through years and years in League One and Championship, and finally now I'm finally getting the years now where I remember him. So it's just been, I mean, it's hard supporting a team when you play football. Do you know what I mean?
But, yeah.
It's just, I mean, at least I'm getting to see him now in Premier League, even if it's at home on coach.
It's not been a bad season for Leeds, though. Are you happy with the manager, and are you happy with some of the players, or is there anything that you'd like to change, or anything like you'd like to see that's a bit different?
No. I think everyone's seen what all Leeds fans have seen for the last 2 years since he's come in. You know what I mean? And I think that it's better. everyone would rather watch Leeds now than watch Burnley or Crystal Palace at home, try and get a 0-0 or 1-1 or whatever away from home. And it's where it should be played. And they go and they go to win. And if they lose, so be it. But at least they go and have a go. And it's exciting football. And that's what it should be like. And I think that's what, I think over this lockdown, it's watching football. It's made me fall out of love with watching football quite a lot because of how every game's been on telly. So you feel like you can't miss it. But when you watch it, it's terrible. And there's no excitement in it. And probably 1 in 10 games, you get a good game in the Premier League now on telly. So it's just, I watch every game. I don't know why I'm saying it as though I don't watch every game, but I watch every game, but I don't enjoy any of them.
What? Because obviously you've played in the non-leagues and stuff like that. When you see things like VAR and all these kind of daft rules and stuff like that, how do you think you'd cope being at that level? You know, let's say if you path went a different direction, you went to Blackpool or whatever, and how do you think you'd cope at that level? Playing with all these rule changes and stuff, would it annoy you? Would you put up with it for 40 grand a week or something like that?
Yeah. Oh, I think I might do. Yeah. I think you're just under so much scrutiny, aren't you, all the time? And I think what it's shown is that if you slow anything down, anything can look bad, whether it is or not. Do you know what I mean? And offsides. I mean, I don't know how they call it on offsides is beyond me, because them lines, and there's no way they're ever accurate. They are ridiculously poor, and I just think there's something needs to change. Like I think it's in Holland have a really good rule of where if the two lines meet on the VAR screen, then they're deemed onside. So you've got a 10 centimetre kind of avenue of. Yeah, so I mean, it's just miles better, and I think, like I said, in our leagues when we play, how many times will the ref get things wrong? It'll be quite frequently, but how much does it kick off, and how much do people? Everyone have a moan, but it kind of what the ref says goes, and I think it's part of football, and I think the talking points after the game, and I think it's all part of the love of football and the talking points after. You can't get everything right. No one can get everything right. So it just takes the enjoyment out, and it's too much stop-start.
Just going back to, we're going back to Liam McDevitt again. After that Steaton game, do you remember that Liam got a goal disallowed? Do you remember in that Steaton game, there was a goal disallowed? He scored right again.
Yeah.
We were in the club afterwards, just sorting out the edit.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, Liam dragged the referee by his ear to the screen and made him watch it over and over and over again. Yeah. So I don't think Liam would deal very well with VAR. I think it might be a bit of a.
He'd probably be getting a lot of dissent charges, wouldn't he? I mean, they're hard to accept, though, aren't they?
Yeah.
No matter what, like I think you know, like if it's close and you think it's close, you can give a benefit of doubt. But when you know. And it's so frustrating. No matter what level.
I think that's why. I think a lot of it, and just kind of, that's why I think a lot of fans are kind of falling back in love with non-league football again. I think what you'll probably find is after the lockdown restrictions are lifted and things start to change a little bit, I think you'll probably see crowds at non-league games go up a little bit, and just by people, just like you've just said, out of 10 games on the telly, one of them's half decent to watch, and then the other 9 games. And I wonder whether that's going to have a knock-on effect down the leagues, and whether people start to kind of, when I was speaking to Jono a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about the, the idea that, it almost like what you see on Sky Sports and BT is like a TV show. It isn't a football game, and actually,
it's very robotic.
To see a football game, you want to be stood or sat in a stand, watching it, seeing it all happen in front of you, and not have anything that stops and starts a play.
And I mean, if they are going to do it, I mean, rugby is a brilliant example of how well it's used and how easily it's used. And it's beyond me how football, there's so much money in it. And I think I've seen in Australia, they have the refs talking through the mics so everyone can hear it. And I think it's just things like that. If they're going to do it, they may as well do it. They may as well do it properly. Invest a lot of money in getting it right. But until they've got it right, there's no point having this on the telly. And I think we like non-league crowds, like you said. I think that people want to see people who are just working hard and doing like you get away with tackles in non-league and you can. Do you know what I mean? It's more of the old school football, than what's in the Premier League Championship now. And I think people appreciate that. Like lads go to work at 6 o'clock in the morning, have a bowl of super noodles for the tea, go to football, and then get. Do you know what I mean? Like that gas tank, you're getting in at 11, 12 o'clock, and you've been out the house 16 hours, 17
and then
hours.
And then you're up at work 5 hours later.
You don't sleep. And it's just, and I think people appreciate that in non-league. And I think whereas it's just, they wouldn't understand that that's what people do. Do you know what I mean? It's just, it's tough at times. Don't get me wrong. It is tough. It's a big commitment for people. And I mean, people have families and stuff like that. And I mean, all volunteers have families, everyone involved in non-league football, and yet everyone does it because they love it. Yeah,
it's definitely. I mean, obviously, the majority of Bury AFC fans have come from the from the old club, from watching Bury FC playing in the EFL, and we didn't really know any of this existed really, and when you support a team, I'm like a lot of other fans. I had season tickets, so I'd go to a handful of away games. So I didn't really have time to take in. You didn't really see these these games in the Northwest Counties or in the Northern Premier or whatever, because you were too busy following your own team. So I think what started to happen now, and obviously, hopefully, when we get a few more fans through the door, is that you'll see this real acceptance and this real, like you said, an understanding that these lads that are pulling on these shirts for the town, you're pulling it on for Bury, are doing it, with a day's graft underneath the belts as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's just two different worlds. And I think that non-league, and when you look at, I mean, there's probably people probably think that non-league football's a bad standard, and when you hear non-league football, they put two and two together. But I mean, some of the players that are in non-league are unbelievable players, and I mean, I know that if the main reason people are in non-league football is commitment, and the difference is the people who are playing in non-league didn't go the extra mile to the people that are playing in lower league football, and I mean, there's some unbelievable talents in there that could easily walk into any League One, League Two club, but they just don't want to.
Yeah,
and that is the difference between a lot of people, and that's the standards getting better year on year in non-league, and it's becoming more and more professional. I mean, Bury AFC have obviously come in now, and they're obviously taking a really professional approach to it. So then what happens is it's like a domino effect, isn't it, with everyone else in the league, and then everyone else says, oh, they're doing that really well, they're doing that. And obviously the infrastructure around Bury AFC is unbelievable, because live streaming matches, how many teams have the facilities to do that? Not many. It's got live commentary, post pre-match interviews. It's got everything that a professional setup would have, and it's just unheard of at this level.
I think that comes through. What we want to do is build those bridges between club and fan as well. And obviously, if you watch the documentary Ours, I don't know if you saw it, the BT one, but if you look at, this is the best way of doing it. The reason why we're doing this now is bridging a gap between the club, the players, and the supporters. So we know, that they feel like they know you when you pull on, you pull on that white shirt or whatever.
Yeah, no, and I think, like I say, it's just next level stuff, and I think that every little thing like this can only help everyone get more tight knit, and hopefully, like all the players that you have on, the longevity of the stay at Bury is a good period of time, so everyone gets to know them. And like I said, we've had a broken season, haven't we? Where we've seen, you don't always see the same faces because there's only so many tickets available and stuff like that. But I mean, once it's all sorted and we're actually in the clear to move forward, I think it'll be a completely different experience again.
It'll be massive. Okay, so this is the bit where all the players absolutely hate, but we like it. So we're going to do a quiz, and what we try and do is we try and make our quizzes a bit topical to the players or the people that we've got on. And so for Greaves, because he'd been around the non-leagues, Sandy did a quiz where he had to guess whether the teams were true or false. With Chippy, we did chip shop names, were they true or false? I've made it a little bit more difficult for you, Chris. What we've done is we've looked at last-minute goals in football. Okay, they're not true or false. They've got there's three possible answers. So see how you get on. I've got some little cheesy bits of music that we can put in the background. One sec. There we go. Right. Okay. So I know all the players hate doing this. But we love it. So question number one. Man United had a famous comeback in the 1999 Champions League final. But who scored the 93rd minute winning goal? Was it A, Teddy Sheringham, B, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, or C, Andy Cole? So just A, B, or C. A was Sheringham, B was Solskjaer, C was Cole. Got an answer?
Yeah, I got one, yeah.
Right, number two. Arsenal were beaten in the 1995 UEFA Cup thanks to a last-minute goal by Naeem. Don't know if you remember. It was a chip over Seaman's head. What team did he play for? Did he play for Real Betis, Real Zaragoza, or Atletico Bilbao? So that's A, Betis, B, Zaragoza, or C, Bilbao.
All right, got one.
All right, in the 2006 FA Cup final, Liverpool were 3-2 down to West Ham United. With 90 minutes on the clock, they equalised from 30 yards. But who was the scorer? Was it A, Cisse, B, Herman, or C, Gerrard? So, 2006 FA Cup final, Liverpool scored a last-minute equaliser. Who scored it? Cisse, Herman, Gerrard. Confident with that one?
All three. I think so, yeah.
Okay. 1966 World Cup was won by England 4-2. How can we forget? However, it was a last-minute goal by the West Germans that took it to extra time. Who was the scorer for West Germany? You thought it was going to be a Jeff Hurst question. Oh no! So was it A, Weber, B, Haller, or C, Held? That's my best German accents. So the West German scorer to take the game into extra time, 1996 World Cup final, Weber, Haller, and Held.
Oh, it's ridiculous. I've got one more, yeah.
So, in 2013, the FA Cup final, Man City were defeated by a last-minute goal. But who were the opposition? Was it A, Chelsea, B, Wigan, or C, Arsenal? So, 2013 FA Cup final. Man City beaten by a last-minute goal. Who were the opposition? Chelsea, Wigan, Arsenal. A, Chelsea, B, Wigan, C, Arsenal. Okay, number 6. In 1999, Carlisle needed to beat Plymouth to stay in the Football League. They scraped a 2-1 victory with 10 seconds to go on the clock. But what was special about the last-minute goal? So was it A, scored by a goalkeeper? So last-minute goal was scored by a goalkeeper. Was it B, a goal scored from the halfway line? Or was it C, the goal was given despite the player being 5 yards offside? So Carlisle, 1999, needed a win to stay in the league. They scored with 10 seconds on the clock. But what was special about the goal? A, goalkeeper scored the winner. B, goal was scored from the halfway line. C, goal given despite the player being 5 yards offside. Happy with that? No idea. Okay. Number 7. Paul Dickov scored an important goal on 95 plus minutes in a second division playoff in 1999 for Man City. There seems to be a lot of 1999 questions and Man City.
Oh yeah, loads of last minute goals there.
So Paul Dickov, 95 plus minutes, scored a second division playoff goal for Man City. But who were their opponents on that day? So was it A, Gillingham, B, Charlton, or C, Sunderland? Famous goal. Confident with that?
I mean, confident, I don't know, but I thought of one before you said it, so it might mean nothing.
Number 8. In the second round of the 1990 World Cup, how old were you in 1990, Chris?
-4.
I did worry about this, but it was a famous goal. 1990 World Cup second round. England were playing Belgium, okay, and the score was 0-0 into the 120th minute of extra time when England scored an outrageous volley. But who bagged it? Was it A, Lineker, B, Beardsley, or C, Platt? So, 1990 World Cup, famous volley, 120th minute. Who bagged it? Lineker, Beardsley, or Platt? Yeah? You look worried. You look like you've got...
I think I could have won.
Right, okay. We're going to fast forward to the 2012-13 season. So probably something that you might remember a little bit more. Okay, so in the 2012-13 season, Watford played Leicester. The score was 2-2 on aggregate heading into extra time. So this was in a playoff. With 96 minutes on the clock, Troy Deeney put Watford 3-2 up. But what was unusual about this last-minute winner? So it was in the playoffs in 1999. Watford were playing Leicester, and Troy Deeney scored for Watford in the last minutes, in the dying embers of the game. So what was unusual about it was it was handled into the goal, so he handballed it into the net. B, the goal came from a counter-attack after Leicester had just missed a penalty. Or C, Watford were down to 8 men. So A, he handled the ball into the goal. B, the goal came from a counter-attack after just missed a penalty for Leicester. Or C, Watford were down to 8 men. Okay, and then your last one. It's another England one. 2002 World Cup. How much do you remember of the 2002 World Cup?
Not much. I think I was in France at the time.
Okay.
I remember that.
Well, before the World Cup, we had to qualify. All right. So it was in Japan and Korea, but we had to qualify. And there was a game at Old Trafford. We played Greece in a qualifier. England were awarded a free kick in the last minute of the game. Who scored that free kick? Was it Owen, A, Heskey, B, or C, David Beckham?
Right.
Should we get some results?
Yeah.
You must be confident with a few of them.
There's a few, yeah. A few that I definitely know. There's a few that I definitely don't as well.
Okay, so we have, first of all, we're going to 1999. Champions League final. United's 93rd minute winning goal was scored by who?
Was it Solskjaer?
It was Dean Solskjaer. Well done. I'll give you a tip.
I was very close to putting Sheringham as well.
Sheringham scored the first one.
Right, yeah.
Okay, so you got one. So you got one, at least one now. So that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, 2. Arsenal 1995 UEFA Cup final. Seaman was lobbed by Naeem, but who did he play for? Did he play for Betis, Zaragoza, or Bilbao?
Zaragoza.
It was Zaragoza. Well done. 2 out of 2. Okay. Was that a guess?
No, I had a feeling because they're in the second division now, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're in the second division. So I'm sure. I just had a feeling that they weren't in the Spanish Prem.
Right. Okay. So we go to number 3. 2006 FA Cup final. Liverpool were 3-2 down to West Ham. 90 minutes on the clock. A 30-yard equaliser. Who scored it?
Gerrard.
It was Gerrard, yeah. So A, Cisse, B, Haman, or C, you got it right. It's Steven Gerrard. 3 out of 3 so far, pal. You're doing all right.
Oh, no.
Okay, this one, obviously, you'll know this one. So 1966 World Cup final. The Germans took it into extra time. Who scored the German goal? Was it Weber? Was it Haller or was it Held? A, B, or C?
I've just gone A.
Well done. It is Weber. 4. Doing well so far, mate. Correct, 100%. Okay. 2013 FA Cup final. Man City defeated by a last-minute goal, but who were the opposition? Chelsea, Wigan, or Arsenal?
Wigan.
It was Wigan. We're on fire. All right so far, pal. Number 6. In 1999, Carlisle needed to beat Plymouth to stay in the Football League. They scraped a 2-1 victory with 10 seconds to go. But what was unusual about the goal? So was it the fact that the goalkeeper scored it? Was it the goal was scored from the halfway line? Or was the goal given despite the player being 5 yards offside?
I just put goalkeeper. So.
Are these guesses, or are these because have you? Or are you absolutely? You were right. These are all last minute. I think you're an absolute last minute winner. Buffy, Chris, you're doing well. We're all right so far. Okay, 6 out of 6. Number 7. Paul Dickoff scored an important goal. 95 minutes were on the clock in the playoffs. But who were Man City playing? Gillingham, Charlton, or Sunderland?
I thought it was Gillingham beforehand, was it?
It was Gillingham, mate. 7 out of 7. Fantastic.
Oh.
We do need that Top Gear leaderboard because I think you'd be. Yeah. I don't think any. Now I see why you want it. Exactly see why you want it. Right. Okay. Going into number 8. So it's the second round of the 1990 World Cup. England played Belgium. The score was 0-0 going to the 120th minute. The ball was flicked into the box and there was an outrageous volley, but who scored it? Was it A, Lineker, B, Beardsley, or C, David Platt?
Was it David Platt?
It was David Platt. Not David Platt from Coronation Street, but yeah, David Platt. Congratulations. That is 8 out of 8. All right. Tough one, this one. 2012-13 season, Watford played Leicester. In the playoffs, the score was 2-2 on aggregate, heading into extra time. 96 minutes on the clock, Troy Deeney scored. What was unusual about the goal? Did it come from Troy Deeney's hand? Did the goal come from a counter-attack after Leicester had just missed a pen? Or were Watford down to 8 men?
B.
B? Counter-attack?
Yeah.
Well done.
It's a great. That gives you goosebumps watching that.
It's an incredible game. Yeah, it's a really good game.
A bit of football.
90% right already. So it doesn't matter about this last one, but you could actually be the first person to get 100% on the quiz. Okay.
Well,
that's a very special.
I forgot what the question was though now, so I don't even know whether I've got the.
Forget the Steaton game. This could be a very, very, this could be very emotional for you.
It's monumental. This. I'll get that bottle of champagne out.
forget the birth of your firstborn baby. It's all about the Bury AFC quiz. Okay, so who scored the equaliser against Greece in the last minute to guarantee qualification of the 2002 World Cup? Was it A, Owen, B, Heskey, or C, David Beckham?
David Beckham.
Klaus. Well done, Owen. 100%. I mean, that just shows you were destined to score that last minute goal against Golka. But yeah, that is. I'm blown away by that. I actually thought that you might have struggled with a few of them, but you just bossed it, mate. Well done.
Educated guesses, innit?
Yeah, I mean the prize will be in the post. I don't know. We don't know what it is yet. I think it might be a Bury AFC drill top. Right. Listen, Chris, you've been an absolute sensation. Thanks very much for taking the time to speak to us. Best of luck to you and your missus with the birth of the baby. It's coming. Is it May?
Yeah, end of May. 26th of May. So
26th of May. All the best for that, Chris. And thanks for joining us on the Shake It Up show. Cheers,
thanks for having us. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Chris. See you soon, mate.
Take care. See you later.
That's all we've got time for on the Shaken Up show. A huge thank you to Chris Holt there for joining me today. This is available as a podcast, so if you don't want to see my face, you can tune in via Spotify, Acast, or Apple Podcasts. If you are happy with my face, then you can like and subscribe, and please check out other Bury AFC videos. We have a whole load of heritage stuff that's just gone up looking at Bury players from past years. And we've also got some goals from over the season and some quick fire with some of the players. So have a look at that. Until next time, we'll see you later on the Shake It Up show. Thanks very much. Goodbye.